people had some scary enemies, but the Philistines were the scariest of them all. And now the Philistines had come to fight them. The Philistines had a secret weapon called Goliath. Goliath was a giant so strong, so tall, and so scary that no one had ever been able to fight him and live to tell the tale. So there they were, the Philistines standing on top of one hill, and God's people were standing on top of the other. Every day, Goliath came out and he shouted, "Send your soldiers to fight me. Send your soldiers to fight me. Send your best soldiers to fight me. If he wins, we will be your slaves. If I win, you will be our slaves." No one spoke. No one moved. "Chickens! Chickens!" Goliath bellowed. "Your God can't save you. I'll rip your heads off and have you on toast." His greedy, beady eyes glowered at them hungrily from his from his horrible helmet, as if any minute he really might just gobble them all up. And he laughed his terrible laugh. Ha, 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 ha. It boomed, echoing horribly all around and around the dry, dry valley. Well, Goliath might just as well have been a green, slimy monster with 3 heads, because God's people froze with fear. Their eyes glazed over. They turned deathly pale. They knew if someone didn't do something quick, if someone didn't save them, but God could do something. He could send someone to save them. Now, remember that David was the youngest son of Jesse. Well, his brothers were soldiers in the army. One day, when David brought his brothers their lunches, he saw Goliath. And he saw how scared everyone was. "Don't be afraid," said David. "I will fight him for you." "You're only a little boy," the king said, "and Goliath is a great soldier. How will you fight him?" "God will help me," said David. So the king gave David his royal armor to wear, but it was too heavy and too big, and David couldn't even walk. "I don't need this," said David. Instead, David picked out smooth stones, 5 of them from the stream. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He took his slingshot and walked towards Goliath. Step, step, step. Goliath walked towards David. Thud, thud, thud. "You?" Goliath peered down at the small boy. "I'm little," shouted David at him. "But God is great." Goliath laughed an even terribler laugh than his usual one. "Ha, ha, 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 ha," it went. With just one swing of his giant sword, Goliath could finish the boy off. But David kept going. It isn't how strong you are or how many swords and spears you have that will save you. It is God who saves you. This is God's battle, and God always wins his battles. David put a stone in his sling, and he swung it around and around and let it go. and the little stone flew whiz like a bullet through the air and struck Goliath thud right between the eyes. Goliath stopped laughing. He stumbled and staggered and crash. He fell dead. When the Philistines saw Goliath was dead, they ran away. And when God's people saw them running away, they cheered. God has saved his people. God has saved his people. David was a hero. David was a hero. Many years later, God will send his people another young hero to fight for them and to save them. But this hero would fight the greatest battle the world has ever known.